We're here for the event. It said on the, I believe it was the ICNA Facebook page, that it's open to everyone today. Readmission. So you know. Well, we're not protesting inside, but I wanted to attend the event. Okay. Cool. They advertised the event as being open to everyone on Facebook. They said it was a free event. So, I mean, I'm just standing here. I don't see what the problem is. I'll show you guys your own words. You advertised this as an event open to everybody, open to the public. Yeah, like
Muslim community, Muslim community. It is free for only Muslim community.
That
free
seems
for
a
only
little bit
Muslims?
discriminatory.
Like, that's not what you said.
Police officer, why is taking?
Because we're taking video. Because you're discriminating
See,
against us. Why
why
are you banning Jewish people from your event? Why are you banning Jews from the event? You advertise the event. It says right here, Carry the Light Annual Convention, Sunday, October 7th, and it says that it's open to the public. You said it's free. So
You didn't say that
why
Christians
is it now
and Jews
all of a
aren't
sudden?
welcome.
So Christians and Jews aren't welcome to your event? Muslims only?
Only Muslims.
Why only Muslims?
Do you mind if we talk about this outside?
No, we can't talk about this outside because you know what? They advertised this event
do not
as a
take
free.
my picture. I am not authorizing you. It's against
You
the
don't.
law.
It's
It's against the
public.
law
It's public.
to
You advertise
discriminate
this as a
against
public event.
religious grounds, sir. That's against the law, sir.
Right, and what
I
you're
have a
doing
right
is
to call.
Call who?
No,
The police
the
are
police
here.
are here. You're going to call the Sharia police?
Yeah.
Who are you going to call? You advertise this event as being open to the public, totally free for everyone. See that? Do you see what that says right there, officer? See? So why now are they saying that it's only Carry the Light Convention is totally free for everyone? I'll go to their Facebook page and you can see. This is discrimination what they're doing right now.
No discrimination.
It is discrimination.
It is discrimination. When
You're
you say
banning Jews
Muslims
and
only,
Christians.
you're banning Christians and Jews from here. That's discrimination,
That's
friends.
discrimination, and I would like to attend the event. I would like to see what you're doing.
So that was Laura Loomer, and along with Faith Goldie, attending a Muslim propaganda festival in downtown Toronto. Now, it was originally, as they pointed out to the police officers who came by in answer to complaints from the Muslim attendees, that it was originally advertised, was widely advertised as open to everybody. A free event, everybody welcome, of course, to hear lots of Muslim propaganda. When these two showed up and realized that they weren't a couple of potential converts, they were going to expose them for the radical ideas that they have about imposing Sharia law. Linda Sarsour was the honored guest speaker, and she is a strong advocate for Sharia law in the United States. She says that Sharia law is held above the United States Constitution. So they just wanted to expose that and exercise their right to enter a public place that was advertised as hosting a free and open event. And all of a sudden it was for Muslims only. Just for Muslims only. You know, we don't want any damn Christians or Jews. No, we just want potential converts. And I love how the guy goes, officer, stop this woman from filming me. You know, it's like they really believe. Well, I mean, it's no wonder that they really believe, because they're encouraged to believe it, that the law is what they say it is. It's not the law of the land. It's, well, we're Muslims and we find that offensive. And there's actually been several instances of that. David Menzies for Rebel Media, he was filming Muslims. He actually even wasn't filming Muslims. He was filming a downtown square on a summer evening, and he caught some Muslims, and they complained to the police, and they assaulted him, and the police did nothing about it. So of course they think that they can just, you know, tell the police. And they see how when the police don't do anything, he gets frustrated and he goes, I'm going to call law enforcement. Because he was thinking, oh, I'll just call some of my brothers down here, and yeah, the Sharia police like they have in Germany. We'll get them down here. But of course, it's not that we have a problem with Muslims who do not want to integrate with Canada, who do not accept Canadian law, who do not accept Canadian values. The problem is Islamophobia.
It's easy to try and scare people into voting for you. It's easy to try and say something that's going to pit a neighbor against a neighbor. And if you do it in a sneaky way and use coded language, maybe you won't get called on it by the majority. Maybe you'll get to slip it through. Well, if M103, condemning Islamophobia, actually gets people to notice that there are people uncomfortable with that idea, that there are people who still have problems with the idea that we would condemn discrimination against Muslims, then we have to know.
Well, that was Justine Sockboy Trudeau last year giving his best drama teacher speech to the Commons, justifying motion M103, the precursor to, of course, stringent anti-hate laws, which will be nothing more than Islamic anti-blasphemy laws. As we all know, that's the direction that they're heading. And of course, this was just before he gave $10 million to a convicted terrorist. What's his face? Omar Carter. I don't want to remember the guy's name, but yeah, Omar Carter and Omar Khadr or whatever. The funny thing is, another person pointed this out. Trudeau's pronunciation on most foreign names is not accurate, but whenever he says a Muslim name, he gets the diction perfect. But this is hardly any surprise because he's never visited a mosque that he doesn't like, no matter how radical. He had the woman, Iqra Khalid, who put forward motion M103 because of the horrible, horrible crimes of Islamophobia that are just rampant in this country. Most of them are just hoaxes, as we're seeing, but she has no problem with anti-Semitism, as she has appeared with radical imams, not once, but twice, radical imams who call for the death of all Jews. They also call for the death of homosexuals, the stoning death of homosexuals. But Trudeau turns a blind eye to that. It's funny how whenever he marches in all those gay pride marches that he loves so much, that everyone ever points that out to him, that the voter base that you court so aggressively would actually like to stone most of the people that you're palling around with. But the Muslims don't make a big deal of Trudeau doing that because they realize, well, keep him in power, and before long we'll have Sharia law, and then all the women will be in black bags, and all the gays will be thrown from the roofs. So let's not worry about it. But of course, I guess that makes me guilty of Islamophobia. Does Trudeau have an agenda, or is he just being used? Does it really make any difference? Clearly, he is very much enamored with the Muslim vote, even though they only currently make up about, not even 2% of the electorate. But here's our Muslim immigration minister telling us about how he's going to change that. We'll get a lot more Muslims in this country, and we'll make sure we vote in some good Sharia law, some good anti-Islamophobia laws, some good anti-blasphemy laws. We'll make sure that nobody is ever voicing an opinion that is contrary to the Prophet Muhammad, or Prophet Muhammad. Yeah, it's Allah's God, Prophet. Hey, give me a break. I'm not a Muslim. Anyway, here's how crazy are people in the downtown cores of cities in Canada like Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal, and by extension probably the same in major cities in the U.S. like Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York. You certainly hear these stories or see these people, I should say, all over the place. But here's again David Menzies of Rebel Media. He was interviewing some people in downtown Toronto after the horrible Danforth shooting by a man who was a self-proclaimed Islamicist, went to a radical mosque and was radicalized by a imam there, and told that he had to do his duty, he had to do his own personal jihad. And I mean, this was all public. Of course, the mainstream media couldn't report any of that. He was just mentally ill. We have to ignore all the very obvious stuff, like ISIS repeatedly taking credit for the attack. And then, the mayor of Toronto, John Tory, goes out and actually visits the mosque twice, no less, where the man who killed 2 young ladies in Toronto was radicalized. Because it's important. Because don't forget, it's not that we had... The important thing is, the main tragedy is not that we had two pretty beautiful, lovely young ladies murdered in cold blood on a summer evening. The real tragedy will be if we lose sight of multiculturalism, because that's what we can't lose sight of. I mean, that's the main thing, is that we have more Muslims, and we make sure that we have more radicalized young Muslim men shooting up the street, as long as we have diversity, because as Trudeau tells us, that's our strength. But hey, you know what? Don't listen to me. Let's listen to this Toronto high school teacher telling us like it is.
CBS in the U.S. was reporting that this person had visited ISIS websites. He had pledged his support to ISIS. He may have visited Pakistan and Afghanistan. I'm just wondering, do you think there could be a terrorism link to what happened?
Yes. I don't know what to say, but yeah.
If that is the case, though, if there is terrorism, why are the authorities so reluctant to call it terrorism?
I don't know. It's just awful. It's just awful.
Can we not? Excuse?
This is a moment for our community. Can you please not descend into racist things right now? Please don't.
I'm sorry, what did I say that was racist?
Don't come here. The rebel, really? You don't need to be here right now. This is our community.
Folks, did I say anything that was racist?
Yes,
or,
you asked if the man.
Well, I'm actually.
You asked if the shooter had visited ISIS websites. That is not.
No, I said CBS in the U.S.
This is not okay.
I said CBS in the U.S. is reporting that.
Okay. The rebel is not okay. Does not represent Canadian values.
Neither do all the Muslims who are shooting up our streets. But apparently you don't have a problem with that, because to take exception with Muslims shooting up Canadians on our streets, that's racist.
This is a news report that broke today.
Can I call you back? This is not what we're about. I'm sorry. This is not what Canada is about. Canada is not about racism. I will not stand for it.
You're the one that's raising race.
This is a wall. You just asked if the man was a part of ISIS.
Ma'am, if you listened, can I speak? I'll let you speak. Can I clarify? No, CBS in the U.S. is reporting that he had.
CBS. That's like reporting on Fox. Fake news.
Really?
Man. The Rebel. Fake news. Okay. Fake news.
What's real news?
People that actually have a media outlet that is real and not racist.
Like CBC?
Is, dude. Yes, like CBC, it's better. It's not perfect, but it's definitely better.
Well, there you go. There's the type of person that that endorses the CBC. Although not wholeheartedly, because probably the CBC to her is not nearly left enough, because they actually still have white males come on occasion. We can't have that. Can't have them. And they probably even talk about Islamic terror occasionally, although they would never use the word Islamic. They probably still report on ISIS, and to her it's like, we shouldn't even report on that. You should just not even talk about that. That's not Canadian. That's not Canadian values. We don't talk about Islamic terror. Doesn't matter if it's happening all around us. Just ignore it, because that's what you're supposed to do. Listen to Trudeau. Diversity is our strength.
Better. The Rebel is a racist source of news.
Because we're asking people their opinion of a mass shooting?
Why? And what does the mass shooting have to do with a man that come on. And you are not my community. You can leave now.
Oh, this is your sidewalk? This is your property?
This is about peace. This is about my community, taking back my community and not being racist.
Ma'am, you're the one that's raising race. You're the one yelling.
You raised ISIS as a factor.
No, I said CBS in the U.S. is reporting.
Propagating racist values.
Here's the thing. I need to not be here. Based on whose authority?
Based on my authority, because I live here. Do you? Okay. Do you?
Well, you live right on this spot. I'm on private property.
Do you live here?
And that gives you the right to tell people to leave?
Capitalist mentality. Is it my property? No, but this is my community.
We live in a capitalist society, don't we?
Yes, we do, unfortunately.
Unfortunately?
Yes, very.
You prefer a communist society?
I prefer socialist society. Yes, I do.
Like in Venezuela, perhaps?
No.
North Korea?
Oh my God. Really?
Cuba?
Wow.
I'm naming all the socialists.
Descending into your own hell right now. Listen.
Well, these are hellholes. I agree with you.
Oh, hellholes. Now you're quoting Trump. Love
the glee on her face. Now you're quoting Trump. Actually, he wasn't. Hellholes, pretty common expression, but no, oh my God, she's so happy. You're quoting Trump. You're quoting Trump. That means you're wrong. You're quoting Trump. And of course she's a socialist. Of course she's a socialist. She wants to go for ice cream with her kids, and she's got a nice iPhone. things that are brought to you by capitalism. Try doing that in Venezuela. But no, she would love to live in Venezuela. Or actually, she doesn't like, when he brings up Venezuela and North Korea, apparently those aren't really socialist countries. I don't know what she thinks a socialist country was or is. I mean, Cuba, that's another one he brought. Apparently that's not really a socialist country either. I don't know, the former Soviet Union. Of course, the answer is that no, socialism really works. It just hasn't been done right yet. And also, no wrong thing. And the other thing is, of course, and this is a very common refrain on the left, is you don't belong here. You don't belong here. Get out of here. The authoritarian, the knee-jerk authoritarian response from the left. They always go there. They love it. It's like, just imagine if they had power. You wouldn't be able to do a goddamn thing. Without them sending the police. They hate the police, but boy, are they really quick to get the police when they think you're guilty of wrong thing.
Now you're done.
Way to go. I'm done here. It's priceless.
He is now done here.
You don't care what ISIS is doing in the world right now?
No, I actually don't. What is wrong with this world is that we don't love and we don't talk to each other. We don't form human relationships anymore. That is wrong with this world. It's not about your freaking fascist agenda in your mind. Fascist. Quote me on that. Okay? Ford. People that elected Ford are people that are demented, that have absolutely no social values. Yes.
He won a supermajority government.
So that would, of course, be Premier Doug Ford, the populist conservative new premier who was only elected last June of Ontario. This woman is accusing millions of Ontario residents of being demented because they don't think the same way as she does. What a reasonable approach.
Demented.
So most of the province is demented then?
Do you not know anything about social reform? Do you not know anything about representative governments? I have 2 degrees in political science, man. Don't even try to challenge me.
Oh, well, please.
I love that. I have 2 political science degrees. Don't even challenge me, man. I have absolutely no arguments, but I got 2 degrees, so just watch out, because I'll call you demented, and then I'll call you a fascist. So there, and then I'll go back to racist, and then maybe fascist again. And don't forget my degrees. Man, I tell you, I've known a lot of people like her. I've actually worked, unfortunately, with people like that who always talk about their degrees, but they have no argument for anything. They have degrees. They are completely unread. That woman's never cracked a book in her life. She's never finished a book from beginning to end in her life. She did, for her degrees, she did the selected chapter readings, and mostly she got points for, attendance. Oh my God, that is hysterical. They're useless little liberal arts bullshit degrees that they love to flout, but actually have no reasoned arguments other than shouting fascist and racist. That is the left in a nutshell.
Anything but.
So what do you do for a living right now, man?
I'm a high school teacher. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're got a nice.
Educating the young about people like you and about your agendas and about the racist crap that you guys propagate in my city after a tragedy that has moved every single person in this community.
The Toronto District School Board?
To its core. And you come here questioning people about ISIS and about people visiting websites in Afghanistan. Who the hell cares, man? People are writing on a wall to show their condolences. What is your problem? Not your question, nor is it appropriate.
Are you really a school teacher?
Yes, I am.
Is this how you teach your children, by the way?
Absolutely.
You scream at them?
No. Come on, man. Seriously? 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 Are you that dense, dude?
Well, I've never seen you teach, man.
Seriously? Are you seriously that dense?
Well, you said you're a teacher, and I'm just wondering.
Okay. Don't question my profession.
Okay. Are you with the Toronto District School Board?
Does that matter?
I'm just wondering where you
identify myself to you. No, you're right. You are not the cops, and even if you were the cops, I know my amendment rights, so no thank you.
So she's gone on at length about how she's the only one that knows what true Canadian values are. So we know that she knows what country she's living in. And she said that she has 2 political science degrees, yet she doesn't know that there's no amendments to the Constitution in Canada. We had a written Constitution that was largely a copy of the unwritten Constitution based on English common law that was put forward after the Glorious Revolution in 1688. Not that she knows any of that, with the exception that we have a hate speech clause, unfortunately, and a few other clauses pertaining to provincial rights. But we have no amendments, ma'am, that you seem it's something you think with not one but two political science degrees, you think that would be something you would know, but no. So that goes to my comment before about those degrees being next to worthless. Unfortunately, not. This is a woman who teaches, some of you at least, teaches some of your kids out there. This is a woman who believes that it's unfortunate that it's not against the law for other people to have opposing opinions.
Not, but if you start spewing racist crap that is hate speech, yes, it is illegal.
And can you tell me exactly what I spouted as racist crap hate speech?
You're making assumptions about an individual that is now dead that we don't need to be talking about in this respect.
No, I said that.
That's a popular phrase with the left. We don't need to be talking about this. That's, we don't need to be, well, what they're really saying is, don't think that way. That's wrong think. The official story is he was mentally ill. That's the tragedy. Don't think any other way. Otherwise, that's hate speech.
I said that CBS was reporting an angle and I was getting people to comment.
CBS, why are you quoting the United States? We live in Canada.
It's a Canadian story.
It's a Canadian story. It's our story. It's my community's story. Okay. You have no business being here with your racist crap. Get your racist crap out of my community. Get it out now.
Get it out now. You have no right to be here. You have no right to say those things. You have no right to your very thoughts. That's the left. And I didn't mean to play. I don't know why I played so much of that. It's from July, but I got to hand it to David Menzies. The guy's got the patience of a sphinx. I mean, holy cow. And I hope you were entertained by that. It is kind of amusing. But the reason I guess I showed it, and of course we've all seen these meltdowns by the left ad nauseum at this point. And certainly with the Kavanaugh confirmation, we've seen this just multiplied. The Democrats in the U.S. have gone, they are this woman. That are Ocasio-Cortez chick, Elizabeth Warren, they all say the same crazy things. Down with capitalism. White men are evil. There's nothing wrong with Islam. We should welcome it. Diversity is our strength. They have all the same talking points, whether it's Canada, whether it's United Kingdom, whether it's the United States, whether it's Australia. The English world has gone insane, except that I don't think that they have. I think based on the electoral record and the number of right-leaning populist governments that are now coming into power, both at the national and subnational level, I'm encouraged that people are waking up. People are seeing people like this idiot who go, my God, this is a woman who teaches our children, this raving lunatic. Unfortunately, all that said, there's still a lot of crazy going on in Canada, and it begins at the House of Commons, where our lovely sock boy holds power, unfortunately, and invites people like this into Commons to give speeches to Commons, by extension the Canadian people, with her ridiculous Islamic propaganda.
Speaker, Islamophobia is a heavy word in today's discourse, but it is heaviest for those who are on the receiving end of it. As a Muslim woman of color, in a time of overwhelming stigma, I fear being othered, profiled, and killed.
Yeah, othered, whatever that is, profiled and killed. Well, no, it's the Muslims that are doing the killing. And yeah, you're not being profiled. In case you hadn't noticed, our Prime Minister is welcoming convicted terrorists into Parliament and handing them checks for $10 million. So you got nothing to worry about, honey. It's a good day to be Muslim. Just cry racism and you'll get some good government money. You'll have no worries. Okay, folks, that's going to do it for today. Thanks as always for watching and listening to Bourbon and Bullets. If you're worried about encroaching Islam and what it might do to our rights in the future, pick up my book, Puritanical, and you can get a glimpse into a dystopian future where the SJWs have taken over and the whole world has gone crazy. Yeah, it's a little bit bleak, it's a little bit depressing, but there's also a lot of sex and hopefully some witty banter. So there's not that much sex, but there's a little bit of sex, and so I think it's an entertaining read. All in all, I hope you pick it up. It's available on Amazon. I'll provide a link in the description. And please, if you want to keep this channel going and drop $1 or $2 in the virtual tip jar, I'll put a link to Patreon and PayPal. And if you can, please like, share, and subscribe. Help the YouTube censors from trying to shut my channel down, as it's just now regrowing after I've had to restart my second channel. But, well, okay. As usual, I'm starting to ramble. So, until next time, this has been Bourbon and Bullets.